Okay, welcome back. This is part two of the presentation of the achievements of last year and the roadmap for this year. In this presentation, we're going to have a look at the suggested roadmap and the main projects for 2016. Like last year, this is the end of last year, this first vertical gray bar that you see. We had three phases last year, we have three phases also this year, and next year, 2017, in phase 7, we will have one more phase for the moment. Let's focus on the phase 4, 5 and 6, the three phases for this year. It's about defining an exposure strategy, it's about working on our resources, and it's about working on our platform. Next year, it's about going live and growing our platform. Let's start with the first phase, phase 4, exposure strategy. What do we mean by this? Simply again, three main projects. One, to define a communication and strategy, communication plan and or communication strategy. Two is to work on our social media communication. Three is to make sure our communicational, informational, marketing website, the website we have today, just presenting what it is about, is up and running and clean. Let's detail each of this. Communication strategy, what do we mean? Three projects here. One, we want to define a social media communication plan. Two, we want to define a communication plan to deal with the partners, or that's number three, with the partners. Number two, with the clients or the friends, the one who are going to use the platform. So three communication plans to be defined before we move on. Second element, we want our website, the communicational website, to be well done. For this, we need to have a general information section, what we talk about, who we are, what it is, this is about, the who, what, when, why, how, and etc. Second, we want to have a complete story, an animated story, which is presenting, as we discussed on the previous presentation, a complete storyboard. What's the full We Change the World story, what this is about, in the high-level overview, but also in the nitty-gritties as needed. Two, we want to have different scenarios. We think about 4 user scenarios. What is there in it for me as this kind of user? And 3, to have some screenshot demos in order to do some teasing and to show how it will be or how it could be on the website. We don't have the platform yet, but we could show already a lot of screenshots to give a taste of what we will concretely see visually and how we could interact potentially with the platform. One example is the Mindly tool showing this constellation of planets as an example of navigation through the different facets. It's just one example, but we have concrete visual examples here. And the third element we want to build on the website is the how can I join or how can I help? How you join the team and support the team and share the love, donate money or co-create with the team like we do now, this complete We Change the World. Third project about social media communication. Here 3 sub-projects. One, we need to automate fully our social media management between all these different media that we don't have to redo and republish things multiple times. So there is a lot of automation here to make sure that it's very solid. 2, we want to curate existing content from other different websites, making sure we have the right sources and we can spread this great content to our audience, building an audience. 3, we want to create our own content, of course, promoting our We Change the World. These are the 3 elements of our exposure strategy. 1, a plan. 2, building the website properly. 3, starting communicating about it and spreading the word to the different social medias or media, not necessarily only on the internet, but through the different medias and channels that we have access to. Second major phase is the resource phase. Here we want to have 3 main projects to focus on the content that we have and we want to have and provide on the platform in the future, what will populate really the resource center, on the human resources, and of course on the financial resources. When we talk about content, 3 sub-projects here again. We want to focus on the resources for the U, actually, the U being this resource center or information and opportunity universe, which is the awareness part for the mind. So here is all the information and knowledge to be shared, directory of NGOs, of change makers, etc. We want to collect and make sure to organize and plan for the future publication all the resources along the change agent network, the CAN, which is the belonging or the heart, and of course all the resources on the ACT, which is how I contribute. This is through the Academy and Coaching for Transformation. Sorry for the typos here. Then want to focus on the resources on the human side. Here we want to make sure that we can touch and grab and appeal to volunteers and find the good consultants who could even maybe work pro bono or at a special rate. So making sure that we have more human resources, more capacity to do what we have to do. Second, we want to network and find some partnership at different levels, both from technical partnership, content partnership, networking partnership. We want to link with different participants to different trainings, to different change agents. There are a whole list of people already identified and shared in the resource center, and identified how we can and when we should contact them and network with them in order to leverage our message and reach a wider audience. 3, community self-collaboration and governance system. This is a whole topic about internal community, how the human resource we have is going to be valued and is going to work together in a systemic and modern collaborative way. And here we have sociocracy, or the models of Mr. Laloux and the Thiel organization, which are under review. We'll find out the best way that our human resources can be creative and governed at the same time. On the financial resource side, 3 sub-projects again. 1, we want to build a complete, solid, and very well defined and structured business case. We are helped here by some business background and business school studies in some cases, like in my case, but also by a tool and by a different set of resources, channeling our efforts to build a complete business case. The business case includes also, of course, a financial plan, but we make it as a separate project because we need to do a lot of thinking about this and to show different scenarios how we could be sustainable over midterm in order to convince partners and money loaners. And finally, to find money. And this goes through the seed financing for the moment, but then it will go also through grants, through the Royal Society of Art or Ashoka or many other which have been already identified in our database, as you will discover. Funding through sponsors and donors. We have possibilities to get now money through the donate button, PayPal on our website, but of course we'll promote that, but also promote free software, for example. This we get already, like more than 2/3 of our software investment is totally free, sponsored by donors. I've been very actively asking to each of these companies to support us, and that's working very good. And so pro bono is one way to get some time or some software, for example, or services. And of course to find sponsors who want to back us up and be behind and loan or give more massive amount of money over long term. And finally, fundraising and creating a whole crowdfunding campaign through probably Kickstarter, but even more probably through CauseVox and other websites which have already also been reviewed and identified a lot about this to be shared as well. This is the resource main phase. The next phase is about the platform. So that's the real website where we are going to be able to do work. Of course, the first website, the communication, the marketing, talking about who we are and how we can join and what we can do, will be then merged into the platform. But technically, they are very different challenges, and so that's why they are like conceptually separated in 2 different projects. Sorry, here 3 phases: design, build, and test. So we first conceive the whole platform, then we develop, build, and assemble the components, the technical elements of the platform, and then we test it thoroughly and that's not an easy part. It takes time before going live in the next year. Design phase, quite easy. We need to design a navigation and a user interface, how the user is going to find and browse through the content. Second, we need to define the content itself. There are three different elements of content. There is a static content. This is just the information about who we are and what we do. This comes from the previous website, from the marketing website. Then there is the dynamic content, things which are moving and changing all the time, like a blog and embedding our social media content, our Facebook post, for example, the different project updates. This is a new part to be built in or to be more enriched at that stage. And finally, the core triad with our you can act. Sorry, they are not in the right order here. The you can act, which will of course structure our content, and a lot will go around these three big elements. Then in the design phase, we have to think about the components, about the plugins, which are the technical elements which are going to be making the platform working. How are we going to provide directories? How are we going to provide navigation through these directories of people and resources? How are we going to give e-learning content through the academy, or a coaching platform where people can book coaching with coaches? Or finally, how we're going to create a social network like Facebook, but for the change agents. Identifying these plugins has been done already. I've been done tremendously work for months and months, actually years about this. I'm very happy I can reuse this work and suggest to you, the community, different components that we can use straight out of the box. Of course, that's the phase 2 now, this project number 2. The assembly of this component will be the core of the build of the platform. But for this, first, we need to have a basic foundation. This is the core platform. It's WordPress plus the related theme, as I mentioned previously. So we have a complete platform and look and feel and interface, and we can create content very easily. And then we need some backup system, we need some management tools, the whole dirty IT stuff which needs to be in place before we do anything. If not, we take the risk that everything gets broken and gets lost. So the phase 2, we assemble the plugins, and they will work separately pretty nicely, but not perfectly. So we need a phase 3, which is development. We need to develop around these plugins. We need to develop the glue that all these plugins work together in an interactive way. We need to develop customizations of the features that they provide. We need to develop the tree of change as a navigational mechanism through the different facets and linking the you, the can, and the act. And we need to develop the complete filtering feature of the talk of this tree of change, showing only a subset of resources based on my context, my profile, my interest, and my different filters I want to activate, like regional filters, for example. Then the third phase is the test. We want first to create a beta user program, probably with us, but maybe with some other users. So we have a large base community of users who are going to test and provide feedback that we need them to gather and to manage into the development cycle. We need to do technical tests, thoroughly testing all the features, and we need to do the functionality tests, so the end user features, and making sure we gather and deal with the feedback. That's not so easy when we have 50 or 100 people testing a platform to get all the feedbacks and manage them. There are tools to do that, but we need to put all this in place and to make sure that we go through iterative cycle of redesigning, rebuilding what is needed, and testing again and again and again until we can reach the final phase, which is called go live and the presentation of our platform. Again, this will be 3 projects which have currently no sub-projects. So when the platform is live, we put a lot of attention on the public relationship and the promotion of the platform, making sure it gets visible and used and that it starts, of course. We work a lot on the management of the community itself, making sure that the current members and all the new members joining are effectively managed, governed, empowered, motivated, get the point how they can collaborate, etc. And finally, we work very, very actively, of course, on the networking and the partnershiping, making sure we can link our website with other stronger websites and that we can be mentioned in their newsletter or have a kind of content or technical partnership with them, and so we can benefit right away from their exposure, and we can spread the word very quickly. That's all for this 4 new phases. So 3 for this year and beginning of next year, and the phase 7 for later next year. So this is the overall. Sorry, I want just to highlight the main objectives. So for this year, the phase 4, 5, 6, we want to starting showing up. After having finished all our phase 3, then now we can start showing up our messages and spreading the word around. Then enlarging the team and recruiting volunteers. So we move now to a next layer and being a much bigger, broad-based team. Having a clean website allowing to communicate, having a very clear business case allowing us to get financial sponsorship and donations based on a solid vision for the future from a business standpoint. The objective for the phase 7, so the go live, it's to be live, is to develop the community and to develop strong partnership at the same time. So that's all now. Now you have the complete roadmap for 2015 before the first gray bar, 2016 for the second gray bar, 2017 for the last phase. We are slightly late with the 2016 phase 1, 2, 3, 2015 phase 1, 2, 3. We are now a bit on 2016. I think that's fine. We can shift everything by a quarter, but roughly you can think about it that last year was about preparing everything. We still need to finish our messages and to clarify and structure with some things. That this year is about spreading the word, getting bigger, and preparing a platform, and that next year is to go live with the platform. And you see here horizontally the time, of course, and vertically that we add value at each phase. So if you count now, you have like 6 phases which are well defined, which each have 3 main projects, which in turn each have 3 sub projects. So you have 6 times 3, 18 times 3. That's 54, I think, 30, 54 sub projects on this roadmap. This will be mapped into a detailed project plan in the form of a Gantt chart. So with all these different projects and phases, it will be adapted slightly to make it more easy to use for our day-to-day operations. But we'll have a complete, roughly 54 projects, and then sub-deliverables, very concretely which key messages or which element we have to work on and we deliver and contribute to. And so we'll have this complete project plan as a next step, but here I just wanted to give you the overview of this big roadmap. So I hope that was insightful, and we can discuss about it and enrich and comment and tune this as required, of course. Enjoy your day and see you soon.